Margie, I love that song. Oh, goodness. No, not that one. Not that. Whoops. Hang on here. Got to get to the right YouTube. We're going to get some guy about some, I don't even know what. All right. Yeah, love the song, Margie. Thanks for the interim entertainment. 99 bottles of Dr. Pepper on the wall. Right. Diet Dr. Pepper. That's awesome. Jan, are you off today or are you just sneaking one ear over this way? If I'd known you were off, I would have invited you in, but I don't think you are. I think you're probably just sneaking one ear in. Hi, Casey. Casey, it's DM and I today. And are you off today, Casey, or are you on a quick break? We are going to do something fun today. Just listening. Have tomorrow off. Awesome, Jen. Oh, is tomorrow? No, never mind. Yeah, Casey, are you off or are you just listening on a break? I'm making sure I have everything here. Just listening. Oh, that was Jen. Yeah. Okay, so hey, Margie. Hey, Casey. Hey, Jen. Eating ice cream is fun. Yay. Eating ice cream is fun to do. Fun to do. Eating ice cream is fun to do. I think I could zoom in just a little bit. It is, and I'm making myself available to give people rides if they need it. Oh, that's awesome. Let's see here. And I need a ride, Jen. Do you want to come give me a ride? Boy, wouldn't that be fun? There we go. Somebody wants to be a part of it today. Have some of your friends. I don't have any. I don't have any ice cream. I'm trying to be good. So, Casey's off. It's the last day of your staycation. Awesome. Casey, grab an art journal. You got to do this with us. Today, we are going to learn to make art journal backgrounds, Dyan Reaveley style. Doing a workshop with her where she taught how she does backgrounds. And hers are really cool because you get a lot of cool little things in there. And learning them to do her style is awesome fun. Hi, Heather. So good to see you.
Hi, Heather.
So congratulations again, Heather, on winning the box the other night. It is labeled, and I will send you tracking, and it's going out today.
Oh, I got my box from you like right before I was going on, Marianne.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome. Oh, that's a fun box. You got a lot of stuff in that one.
Yeah. But I figured you'd rather me be on with you than
opening it. Yeah, because that'll give you something for the afternoon while you're resting that shoulder and letting the cortisone kick in. Casey, mixed media page will work as well. So, yes, just a sheet of mixed media paper will work just fine. In fact, you'll probably want two. You'll want several because we're probably going to have time to do more than one. And so we're going to do several her style and in a couple of different ways that she has taught me and taught lots of people. And she actually uses another piece of paper while she's doing it. So this is a background that is Dyan Reaveley style. We did this on a Monday Jumpstart, but it was Dyan Reaveley style background and then some other things on top of it. And so when she does backgrounds, let me just show you a couple. This is Dyan Reaveley style background, and then just chose to do some simple butterflies on top of it. This is a Dyan Reaveley style background in process, as is this one on craft. Let's see. This is a Dyan Reaveley style background in process. That's Dyan Reaveley style, and that's something different that she does that we'll go to another day. Let's see. I thought I had, oh, maybe it was the other book. Oh, well. Okay. So we are going to pick a blank page today. I like one that will kind of light open well so that you can see.
Hi, Dawn.
Hey, Dawn. Hi, Sue.
Hi,
How you
Sue.
doing? Good to see you guys. Oh, Jen, I did see your payment, and yours is going to be getting labeled today, too. I just had to take the weekend off. Angie! Oh, my gosh. I willed you to be here, Angie. I was thinking about you so much yesterday. I'm going to call you. All day yesterday, I was thinking about you, and you must have felt that and willed you here. Okay, so I'm going to do this page in this big Dilutions journal, big enough that you can see that. You can do it in anything. As you see, I often use this smaller journal, and Dyan often uses her Dilutions. In fact, we're going to do this another day, but her Dilutions, she calls them, where did they go? Here's one. It's black, but not white, but dialogue books. She calls them log books because they go inside a cover, and what she does with them is actually pretty cool. So we'll go into that another day. She has a very distinct style. If you're familiar with Dyan Reaveley, if you're not, look her up on YouTube and Facebook. She does a lot of live videos, and
She's coming, Casey. She'll let you know what we need.
On Facebook too, so you can follow right along. Okay, so if you've got an art journal or some mixed media paper or some really heavy cardstock, that will work. I wouldn't use watercolor paper because it just will absorb it too much. You will need a spray bottle of water. Give you a minute to gather these things. The kitchen sink would help. Yes, a spray bottle of water. You will want 3 sprays. I have a warm group here and I have a cool group. I think we're going to have time to do more than one. And so we'll do a warm page and then we'll do a cool page. So 3 sprays for each page. You will want a roll of paper towels. And of course, there's always, alternatives. If you don't have paper towels, you can use your art towel. I am trying to follow Dyan's process, or her process for doing her backgrounds pretty much exactly as she does, so that you can learn from her. And then, whatever you choose to change or adapt, that is up to you. And then she will use some black paint, or you could use some black ink. And with either one of those, you'll want a dauber. She uses daubers with her paint. I love daubers with the paint. The only thing is I have to remember to get them into water fairly quickly, so they don't just turn hard. But I love doing paint with daubers. It goes on so easily, so smoothly, so nicely. Margie, thank you for your support. Yay, Angie. I'll look forward to talking to you this afternoon. We really appreciate Margie's support, keeping us up and running. Let's see, what else will we need? That's pretty. Oh, stencils. You'll want a few stencils. Actually, 2 stencils will be fine. If you have just anything with design on it. If you've got a repeating pattern, that's always pretty cool. If all your stencils are together in a container, just grab the whole container and bring it near you. And does put borders on her. Oh, no. I already knocked over 1 container of markers this morning. I don't need to knock over anything else. She puts borders, and we're going to talk about the borders and how she does them, because there's multiple ways to get them. If you don't have border stencils, don't worry about them. So I'm going to give just a second. I know Casey's gathering his stuff. Glennis isn't here. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. Who is anybody else going to do it along with us? I'll give a second and wait till Casey lets me know that he's got his supplies gathered. And if anybody else is, we want to make sure that you have a minute to gather your supplies. So, yeah, it's no fun to have somebody start without you while you're gathering supplies. Well, if we get through doing a couple of pages this way, then, and we have time, then I will do a page with paint, Dyan's style. And this is another thing that Dyan does. So, I think that would be a good one, or that one. So I know a lot of you have paint and sprays in your stash, and maybe you're not really into mixed media and not using them on things like that. And are they just sitting there drying out? Honestly, are they just sitting there drying out? I have to admit, I have a few that have been sitting here for a few years, and I just haven't used them, and they are getting pretty darn dry. Does it matter if they are oxides or spray stains? I think, Casey, I would do all spray stains, and then I would do all oxides so that you can see the difference. So we're going to do at least 2 pages. So maybe get warms in one and cools in the other. And then you'll be able to see how the oxides react, how the regular stains react. And that will be, those kind of tests are really good to do, so that when you go to do one that you want to be really good, you know exactly what you're going to get. So this is a brand new one, and it's nice and runny, but I've got a couple in there that I shook and nothing shook. I opened them up and they're pretty dry inside. So I will take that and put some water in and try to mix it up, even bring it out and put it into a little palette, and then use water with it with a brush. And you can use that like watercolor. But, you know, that's my own fault for letting it sit there dry out. So don't let them just dry out. And if you're not into mixed media, that's totally fine. I'm hoping to share with you Dyan's process for, did not want that on there, for doing art journal page backgrounds. And that will give you an opportunity to use those sprays and paints that maybe you're not using. Okay, that's a good one. We'll use that one. That one. Hey, Ricky. Ricky, I think you were going to do along with us. Do you have your supplies gathered that you got from the list earlier?
No.
Casey, let me know as soon as you've got your supplies and we'll get going. I am looking for, maybe we'll use blueprint sketch.
Billy Goat.
Pretty one. Billy Goat. Behave. New page, right, Margie? You know I can't do it on that. I have to turn and get a new page now. So, Ricky, you will want either an art journal or some mixed media paper, or very heavy cardstock will work. Some 3 sprays and a spray bottle of water. I'm going to use 3 warm sprays together, and then we'll do one with cool sprays. Some stencils, just a couple stencils. Patterns, like geometric pattern stencils, are really good for this. Hey, Julie. Oh, Ricky's already got hers together. Yep, she already asked about it beforehand. Got yours together, DM? You didn't have much.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much. Right, what I need is right behind me anyway, so.
Warms, aged mahogany, mustard, sea spice, marmalade, cools, faded jeans. Nice. Okay. All right, let me get the top off of this one without dropping it off my book. I'll just turn around and do it over the trash can. Ooh, that's a pretty one. I love blueprint sketch. That's really bright. Okay. All right, so we're going to save those. So yes, I must have a new page. Must have a new page because I can't do it on that. That's not the color I'm using. Besides, it's paint. Okay. Dawn went to a crop on Saturday and rubber stamp convention. Oh, is that the one in Mesa, Dawn? I shared with the group several people. Oh, good, good. Hopefully get some new members. Those will work well together, Casey. That's awesome, Dawn. I remember that's the first one I ever went to, was that what do they call it? Stamp and something expo at the Mesa Convention Center. Should I have my splat box out? Not necessarily. I'm using the glass mat behind it. It's not going to go everywhere, and I use the glass mat because then I can just mop it up with a tag or a paper towel, you know, whatever you want there. And let me see if I can get my camera a little straighter. Okay, so Glennis is there. Oh, had a dog problem, but Glennis is here. Yay. All right, so we are going to start. I'm going to do this side, and this is Dyan Reaveley's process for doing art journal page backgrounds. And when she's doing them, she just goes through and does lots. And you'll, because you've already got it going and you've got ink on some things and sprays. And then she has them all, the backgrounds done. So then when she's traveling, she just carries her book with her and then can do the art journal page on top of it while she's sitting on the plane, because you're not going to have the sprays and things on the plane, obviously. So, okay, so we're starting out here. First thing she says is, and I'm going to use the warms. I'm using 3 Dilutions warms. It doesn't matter really what brand you do. What will matter is that you want them to be water-based, and her Dyan's sprays are never, ever, ever, ever permanent. So that means that they will reactivate or remove with water added. So you don't really want something that is permanent unless you, or until you heat set it. That's fine. So we are going to give this page a good spritz of water, nice spritz of water. And then we're going to take our 3 colors, and we're going to take one of them and we're going to spray it in 2 places. Now, the thing that she always emphasizes is lots of color. She says, you need a puddle. Don't be stingy on the color. She says, you need a puddle. If you don't have a puddle, it's not going to work. So make sure you're spraying a nice puddle here. And then our 3rd color. And so I've kind of just divided this page in my mind into into 6 little squares. Ooh, that orange and pink together are really close. Into 6 little squares, and you can see it kind of puddling here. And then we take a piece of mixed media paper or super heavy cardstock that is over here, and she usually sets it right here so it doesn't cover this page. But you can see that the spray doesn't really go everywhere anyway. And then she sets this on top of this page. And in rubbing it around just a little bit and gently, what it's doing is spreading the spray underneath all over that page and coating this top page. So I'm actually going to get 2 pages in one. If you don't have the puddle, it is not going to spread and get the kind of movement that you want. And it's not going to be enough to cover that one. You could pick it up, but then you won't have good coverage. So I have done it where I haven't put enough spray down, and then when I do this and pick it up, I've got big white spots everywhere. So see how nice of coverage we got on the full page by that spreading. It's still wet, and we got nice coverage on this one as well. So that is really, really awesome. Okay, then the next thing she does is take the let me think. Should she do that first or should she do this first? She does. Well, there's 2 different ways kind of that she does it. Let's do it this way. She'll take the paper towel and she'll roll the paper towel across it, and that picks up some excess water that's sitting there. And if your paper towel has a design in it, it often gives you some faint design down there, which is cool because it's like using one more stencil that you haven't used. So I'm just going to run that across. Now, I'll also tell you something that I learned in doing these with her is that the design that we're going to get, the stencil imprint, the paper towel imprint, sometimes I'm doing it on there and I really can't see it or can barely see it. It comes out more and more as it dries. And that, I don't know, I find very interesting, but it does. That comes out more and more as it dries. Okay, so I'm going to put this stencil down. And I want this stencil to be nice and flat. My page is bowing just a little bit, but I can hold it down, no big deal. And then she's going to spritz this with water. Okay, and that spritzing with water reactivates the ink a little bit, and we'll have the stencil design underneath that, not spritzed with water. Okay, now the top of this, the top of the stencil is covered in water. So she takes that and she turns it right over onto this other page. So now she takes the paper towel again and rolls the paper towel over this page. And look at that cool stencil mark we're getting there. And then roll the paper towel over this one. And so one is going to be the negative because one is the inside of the stencil and one is the print of the stencil itself. So by using the water that's on the stencil instead of just wiping it off, on this one, we'll get the actual stencil print. Does that make sense? I don't remember where I got this from. I just liked it because it was kind of wonky circles and lots of them. So let me set that aside. Okay, so you can see, I'll run over this one again now that we removed the stencil. You can see the difference. This one, where the stencil was, is darker and the water removed some of the paint inside. This one, where the stencil was, is lighter because the stencil was wet. And so especially if you look at the pink, you can see the difference. And so one is the inverse or the negative of the other. And I can tell you that the more this dries, the more that imprint is going to come out. I'm not going to heat set it yet because she then uses a second stencil. Let's see. I want to get some kind of design that's different. So this one is circles. I want something that is different that will show up against that. And so I'll use this. What is this? Herringbone. Now, I will admit that this is a technique that makes me wish that I had cleaned my stencils. Because as you know, I don't usually clean my stencils. Not very good at that. It's not that I don't want to. I just forget to bring in a pan of water and don't usually get them done. So this is pretty clean on one side, but it's got paint on the other side. So the paint is going to make it not sit perfectly flat. But if I spray it on this side, then it is going to possibly take some of that paint off. I'm going to do this side anyway because I want it to sit really flat on there if it can. All right. And so then I'm going to spritz this one. I'm not going to do it everywhere. I want to get some of this imprint here and there. So the circles are kind of everywhere. They are here and there. But I want to get this one here and there. So I'm going to spritz that and let that sit for just a minute. Now I'm going to turn the stencil over and use the wet part of the stencil on the other one again, like we did before. And here's where I'm really gambling because this side of the stencil has paint on it from previous. That's the wet side. If I turn it over there, I'm taking the chance that it's going to bring some of that paint off because I don't know what kind of paint it is. It was probably from the gel plate. So it is probably acrylic paint. So some of that is likely to come off on here. It might end up being a happy accident, look really grungy cool. It might not. So I'm going to take a chance with that. I'm going to flip this over and just put that down. So the same part that was wet is on the stencil. I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to run it over that stencil, which presses it in. Might be pressing some of the paint in, but what I need to do is press the water in that's on that stencil. And I'm also going to run the paper towel roll right over the top of the one that we spritzed. Can't see a whole lot of that herringbone yet, but I suspect as it dries, we will be able to see more. And I don't really want to see a whole lot. I want it to be background. As Dyan says, if it's a real nice, perfect imprint, it's no longer a background, it's a focal point. So if you're talking about backgrounds, then you want backgrounds to be subtle, to be in the back. They are supportive, not the focal point. Okay, looks like we might have gotten a little bit of paint off there. I'm going to move that stencil. I'm going to run the paper towel over this one. That paper towel is getting pretty saturated. We'll get a new one. I've got more herringbone on this one that I can see already. Interesting. And maybe a little bit of that paint because there's some darker pieces right here, but not a lot. So I'm happy with that I didn't get much of that paint. Okay, so you can't see a whole lot of that herringbone, especially the second one, but I'm going to go ahead and heat set it or heat dry it right now and watch what happens. And what's interesting to me is even if I do this and then I let this sit overnight and I come back tomorrow, that image just pops out. I don't totally understand why or how it does, but look at this. Herringbone all over the place now is popping out. Yeah, it's very interesting how it comes out so much more once it's completely dry. So just letting it sit overnight, the next day, you can see a lot more. Look at that one. I don't need to completely dry it. That's enough. And you can see some of it is very watercolory where it's not perfect in design. And I'm totally okay with that because it's a background. And so the background being supportive, want it to be more muted and spread. That's just fine. Okay, so there's a background, Dyan Reaveley style. Now the other thing that she does frequently is put a border on it. So when doing the border, there's a border. Is there? There's a border. And here's one that didn't have anything else on. This is a Dyan Reaveley background and the border, and that's that. Okay, so you might have some border stamps. Let me show you a couple that you might have and not have really thought about them. Maybe you have something with flowers or greenery. That can be a border. You can just put it whichever direction and do 1.5 or 2. You can do one across the bottom and top. Okay, maybe you have something like this. That works. Or something like this. Or from Stamperia. This one is from Safari. And this is the one, that's the one that I just showed you. And then this little one right here is the other page that I just showed you. 2 side by side. So there's lots of borders here. How do you get that border on without getting all the things next to it? You just take some washi tape and put washi tape next to it where you don't want your ink or your ink pad to come through. Maybe you don't have any background stamps, or sorry, border stamps. Dyan frequently uses regular stamps. What we learned from her is to take anything with a repeating pattern. So a chevron is easy. You put just the one, and you only do the one instead of doing the whole thing. You just do one chevron down here, and you have a really nice background. Maybe you've got something with hearts. I can set this down here and just do a heart border all the way around by only doing one. And there's plenty of room on this that my dauber can get on here and not even need to mask off. Some of them you may need to mask off. I thought I just did one with the hearts, and I don't remember seeing it. There's one. There's one with the hearts. So any stencil that has a repeating pattern makes a nice and easy background. Speaking of Dyan Reaveley's own stamps or stencils, I thought, how fun would it be to do the spider web as the first stencil and then do her coffins. If I use this by itself, it doesn't look like coffins. But if you use it with the spider web, now you can see the coffins. And then I happen to have this. I've had it forever and have never used it. And I thought this is the perfect time. Look at all the little skeleton heads. I could do the skeleton heads as the border. How fun would that be? And you could do the same thing, the same style on a tag. And you could do a border down one side or across the bottom with those skeleton heads. So just taking her style, her process, you can use it in a lot of different ways. Now, I keep these handy because if I happen to overspray a bunch, then I will use the tags on here to mop up the extra spray. But this didn't overspray at all. So that is really nice. So let's find us a border that we can do down the side of this one. You can really use any stencil with a repeating pattern. So you could do that. That's pretty big and bold. Maybe I don't want quite as large of a border. Let's go back to one of these. How about one of these? Let's see. I could do that across the top, that across the bottom, and maybe I'll do these one. So what she typically does, if they're all, this one is all the same. I'll do that one because it's all the same. If they're all the same, she said she will do up one side and up the other side, and then fill in across the top and the bottom. So the only time I really would do it differently than that is if it's a design like this, and I look at that and that's perfect across the top, it fits exactly, then I would do it there, and I would do it on the bottom, and I would fill in on the two sides. And maybe just do one and then take this and extend it out. Maybe that's what I'll do. Show you how we'll do that to extend that out. Most of the time she'll take paint and put a little paint down here and then the dauber in the paint. I love, love, love daubers in the paint. They are so easy to work with and so easy to blend. I just have to remember to put the daubers into water fairly quickly. Otherwise, the daubers will go hard. But if I remember to put them in water, I love the way the paint blends with the daubers. Okay, so I'm going to just use ink on this one. I just don't want to put the black paint down yet on here because I'm going to do some other things, and then we'll do black paint on that one. I'm just going to use the dauber, and this is Dylusion's archival ink. You can use any ink you want. I would use archival so that I know that this is going to stay. It's not, if I did happen to decide to spray something else on it as I'm doing that page, I know my border isn't going to get distorted because of a spray. Okay, there's a nice border on top. I'm going to bring it around bottom. Now this is really awkward because it's right off the edge. So what we learned from Dyan is don't make it awkward. Just flip your book around. So whether you're left-handed or right-handed, you do one side. One side is always easier than the other. She says, just flip the book around to do the other side. Make it easy on yourself. Don't make it so difficult. So all I try to do is get that lined up because, you know, if I can do it straight, that's pretty awesome. I'm not very often straight, usually a little wonky, so try to get it as straight as possible. And it's really easy to just use your dauber and just press it. If you have a decent, juicy ink pad, just put, you know, good ink on it and then just press it. Press it into your stencil and you get a really nice imprint there. All right, I'm going to do the same thing in the middle. While I've got it turned around, I will do this side. I'm going to try to go here. It's sitting up on the edge, so I'm going to hold that down and try to get that center first so it doesn't lift up and get underneath it. And then once I have this, I do want it to extend all the way to meet the other one. And then part of the reason I chose this particular one of the ones on this page is because I can take this and just bring it out here and extend it a little bit. I could have looked at my angle a little bit better, but it's okay. It'll work. I'm going to do that right there. And I'm just going to get, oops, I went off the edge a bit. It's all right. Those last four, and I'll come down to this one. And get those last four just to extend that one out. And that works for me. It's an art journal page. Shouldn't be perfection. Okay, I'm going to come over to this. DM, is there a question back there that I missed from Julie? Can you see it at all? All right, we'll get the other side.
Sorry, I was drying and I was on mute and I was trying to talk to you, and you know that really helps.
Well, I wasn't responding, so
yeah. What coloring sprays would you use for African safari backgrounds? Yellows, oranges, browns, Julie. Yeah. Blues, because their sky is really blue too.
Honestly, I love this combination right here. For anything warm is great for the African safari. I do like the warm ones because it reminds me of the good sunsets you get out there. And then, you know, also, you know, browns and greens. So brown is really interesting. You have to be a little careful of what you put it with or how you use it, because it's easy for brown to mix. Okay, so there's our page. Yeah, easy for a brown to mix and then turn everything brown. And I didn't mention one of the most important things that she said. I'll do that on the next one. But so there's our background page. And so Dyan goes through her book while she's doing backgrounds and just does lots and lots of backgrounds in different color combinations. She may not put borders on them right now, but if the backgrounds are there, then she has a page to work with. So let's take another one, and you could use other things for the black. You can see that it works on craft. I did that on one page. Let's do another cream colored one here. So this one, let's do in the cool colors. I have three of her cool colors here. The one thing that she mentioned, and maybe you caught it because I did it, but I didn't say anything. So we're going to spritz it with water first. Good spritz with water. What she said was when you spray this, and get a good puddle of water, get a good puddle of ink. Good puddle there. And then you do the next one. She said, don't do it next to it. Make sure you have some overlap. And you probably saw that I did that. They overlap and then everything meets when you end up rolling it all together. If you don't overlap, you end up with 6 splotches of color, just kind of, side by side. And that doesn't give you the melded background that you want. So my only concern about brown would be that overlapping with brown, that you turn everything else brown. That makes sense? That would be my only concern. So, but you could use all kinds of different shades of yellow, you know, a dark yellow, mustard, things like that, and get some pretty cool, you know, dark colors. You could also do warm colors and then use brown ink on it or brown paint on it as opposed to black, Julie. I could see doing that we just did, and then using a dark coffee color to do the border, or to do some design on it that we wanted to do. Okay, so now we've put, what did Dawn say? I just had 2 dark chocolate Utah truffles. Oh, right. Oh, those Utah truffles are so awesome. Okay, let's get just the very edge there. Oh, love these. They're gorgeous. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, I will take off my warm colors here. Start with a fresh kind of sort of paper towel roll, and let's roll this off. This also gives you some super pretty paper towels to work with. But I do like when I get the paper towel imprint on here, because that's cool, diamond within a diamond. And we'll do this one as well. So we're going to follow the same process for this one. We spritzed with water, and we spritzed with our ink. Then we're going to pick a stencil. I want to do the coffin one, but I think I would rather do that with, and the spider webs, I'd rather do that with warm. If I do it with warm, let's see. Which stencil do we want to use? We could use this one, and then maybe we use the hearts over it. Looking to see what else is right here. Oh, this is a fun one. Let's try this. Oh, and I love Dyan's heart one. I use this a lot on the gel plate, so it's full of paint on both sides, so not so great, but okay, I'm going to use this one. Get it right in there on the edge. Okay, and I want it to lay as flat as possible against that page. If it's not laying flat against the page, and this is the problem when you have paint buildup on it, when I spritz it like this, the water's just running underneath it because the paint is not allowing it to get close to the page. So that is a good reason to clean your stencils. So I'm trying to push it down where it might kind of be sticking up. Spritzing it good with water. Let it sit for a minute. Now I'm going to try something slightly different. We're going to, we would pick that up and turn it over onto this one so that we can get the negative impression. And I'm wondering if I just turn this over and press them together, if all that will do is smear it, muck it up, or if it will give the same effect. We'll try. I don't think I'm getting the same effect on this side. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Maybe it depends on how long it's on here. Because when I turn it over, remember we can press it down into it with the paper towel and hold it. So maybe I just need to hold it a bit here. All right, let's see what we've got. Oh my goodness. Let's get this one. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool. Now, I could just walk away for a few minutes and let it dry like this, and odds are I'd get some little dark spots where those little tiny puddles are. And that's really cool. I like that because that kind of adds a grunge effect to something that's pretty clean. So, but I'm not going to because we're live. So I'm going to go ahead with her process. Take the paper towel. Oh, there we go. Love that. Love that. We've got a nice imprint, but it's not perfect. I don't want it perfect. It wouldn't be a good background if it was perfect. It's like the wallpaper under the wallpaper. When you start to pull it off, you get, hi, Ori. Good to see you. When you pull the wallpaper off and you see the wallpaper underneath it and that starts to peel off too, you get bits and pieces and parts. Okay, so take a close look at this and see how this one, we have, you see the inside of the stencil. This one is the actual stencil itself that's lighter because we did the positive over here and then the negative on this side. And that's really cool because you're doing 2 pages at once and you think you're doing 2 identical pages and you're really not. They are the same color combination, but they're actually very different because one's positive and one's negative. And so they're just backgrounds to work with when you go to do something on them. You can do completely different things on them. But that is really pretty. And I know that the lime green Island Parrot, that is this one, it's a lot brighter in real life than it is on my camera. And so it really adds a really nice contrast. Okay, so then the next thing she would do is a background. I'm not going to do a background on this one. I am going to give it a little bit of heat and let's see if more of our design comes out. So as you do these, then I would let it sit open so it can completely air dry because those pages are still damp. I didn't dry them that much. They're still damp, still have some water in them. Let it go, come back later and look at it and see how much more of your design has come out. Even with the heat, more design comes out. But when you let it sit and dry, once it's dry, even more of that design comes out. Isn't this a great technique, Ori? Yeah, this is Dyan Reaveley's technique, and I love it. You can just absolutely use the same technique over and over and over again. Where's the one we just did? There it is. Okay, kind of wanted to, don't know where our top page went. Just watch over time as it dries more and see how much more of that comes out. So yeah, it's a great technique because look, both of these are done the exact same way and look how different they look. And so, as I said, Dyan will go through her journal and it doesn't have to be a big one like this. She does it in those little dialogue books, which are traveler's notebook size. She does them in that. And that's what she travels with because she says she's on the plane all the time. So she travels with that. She can doodle on them. She can write on them. She can glue things on them. And that's what she does while she travels. So, okay. So now we've done 2 with sprays. We did 1 cool and we did 1 warm. So messy and full of color, right? Oriana, full of color. Let's do one with paint. And because I wouldn't have thought to do paint like this with this style, but Dyan does. I'm looking for a page that will lay flatter past the half of the book. So let's see, maybe back here. Maybe we'll use this one that my paint fell onto. Let's move the sprays. So her paint technique is very similar. That was Lucky Clover. So we'll use Lucky Clover and we'll use Blueprint Sketch and we'll use Wilted Violet. Maybe we only need 2. let's use 2. Which 2?
We do?
Right? I'm thinking probably the blue and the violet don't give as much contrast, although I love them together. Love all 3 of these colors. So if you have these 3 in sprays, how are the purple and green together? Probably looks blue on camera anyway, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that is Blueprint Sketch. That's really pretty too. You know what? Maybe we'll do 2 pages and we'll do one with this and one with that, because I'm really curious to see what the purple and the blue do together. So, all right, I'm going to put the lids back on. I just wanted to get a good look at the colors there. And I'm going to set the wilted violet aside for just a moment. That wilted violet would probably also be really pretty with this broken china. Oh, tumbled glass.
Yeah, Margie.
What?
She's lazy on backgrounds. They come from pretty paper pads.
Right? Totally understand. You can even buy Dyan's books with her backgrounds already in them. Okay, so here's how she does the backgrounds. This one, you need your baby wipes. I'm going to grab a couple so that I have one on hand. Okay, well, let me use one first to clean up my hands, or I'm just going to get all these other colors on everything. I do just fine until I'm pressing something on, and then it leaks out the edge, and I get that on my fingers.
Yep.
All right.
Which side did I do?
Yeah, I do have her books with her backgrounds on them, Margie. Sometimes you just don't feel like making your own. It's nice to have them already there. And I like hers because they're a little different than mine. So out of baby wipes. No. Okay, Casey, you can use a paper towel with water. Just spritz some water on it. So she takes the baby wipe and she kind of folds it up like this. So it makes a little pad like that to use. Okay, and now we're going to try Lucky Clover and Blueprint Sketch. So we're going to put, a little bit of Lucky Clover here. We'll start with Lucky Clover. And so she'll take a little bit of this and, really spread it out here. So, because what we don't want is a big old just plop of this color and then the next color right next to it. Again, if we're talking background, we want background. We don't want focal point. It's background. So there's some Lucky Clover, and then get some Blueprint Sketch. I'm just going to turn this over and use the same pad, but this little side over here. Get some Blueprint Sketch. And again, make sure you overlap them, because if you don't, then you just have, see, I feel like I have big spots anyway. So I'm going to turn this inside just a bit to get some that doesn't have any paint on it. Kind of go back over them so that they're overlapping. Look, that spot that I dropped the paint on before is sticking way out because it was just a plop of dark paint. So maybe that will get covered. Okay, so now she takes the stencils. Let's pick a stencil that we can use for this one. Let's do this one. This was kind of a cool design on that. Let's see. This side probably has less paint. I put this on here. Now, we're not going to do the entire thing. And we're going to use the same color that we're using on here. So we'll just pick like a little section of the stencil. We're going to get some of this paint. We're going to spread it out here so that it's not plopped on here. It's all mixed in. And I'm going to do this side so I don't just set this in the paint over here. We're going to come over here like this. And we're going to get a little bit of that stencil like that. That may be a little bit dark. We can take care of that. And we're going to get a little bit over here. I didn't even need to get any more paint. There's still plenty on here. And this is something you can see here. I could have used a smaller stencil even though this is a large book, I could have used a smaller stencil, because if I want it in 3 places, apparently 3 is our brain's favorite number. And apparently a triangle, a triangle is our brain's favorite shape. So it makes our brain happy to have things in triangular type formations. So, and that's probably why in the design world, they always say use 3, 5, or 7. Yeah, I'm going to get the hearts, even though I know that there's paint on this. Actually, that's kind of big. I'm going to look for a stencil that's a little smaller. Something that's a smaller pattern. I'm looking at that shape. I want something different, so it's not at all the same shape. Pull these back over here. See what we've got. Circles would probably work. See, oh, this would work here. Okay, we'll do that one. It's kind of a swirly design. Again, plenty of paint on it. Not paint on that side. This is a Ciao Bella. Okay, so this one I'm going to get a little bit of the blue. I'm using the same spot on the baby white that I did with the green because I really don't want it to be clear. I want background. And this is actually a little bit strong here. So the thing that she said is really important here. You're going to do 3. Don't come over here and go 1, 2, 3. And now you have 6 distinct places of design. She said you're going to go in the same place, just kind of off a little bit, but you want to make sure that they overlap. And we don't want, a clear design in here. We just want a little bit of background. This might not be the best one for background because it looks just a little bit muddled over there. So let's try it again over here. And this is how you learn if it's a good background stencil or not. I can see some of the design. This is a difficult one to see. So probably not one I'll use for a background again. But it'll work. It'll work for now, and that's okay. Circles would have been great. You do circles like that, and you just get the tiny bit of fade in the background of circles here and there. So we can do that. I could probably come over here and pick some of this up. And if I do that, all I'm doing is kind of blending in some of the color from that stencil. It's also going to take some of my first stencil off and blend that. So if you don't want to do that, then don't do that. But that's really fading out that second stencil that I didn't like so much. So then I can come back here with the circle. I'll go back to the green, make sure that I don't have very much paint, and just get some same colors, the same colors on top of this. And you can see that even using the green on the green, that you can still see it. You can still see a really nice background there. Now, see, that works. So even if it was something we didn't like, we can fade it out, put something else there. It's only paint, people. You can always paint over it if you don't like it. I was trying to teach Sammy odd numbers to make more interesting in your brain happy. Her response: you can do that, Grandma, but I don't want to. Oh, well, I will say it's good that she does think for herself. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Maybe she wants to do 4 because there's 4 corners, and that's okay. So that tells you that her brain likes symmetrical things. And you can use that, Dawn, as you're teaching her stuff. You know that her brain's going to be attracted to symmetrical things. So, okay. So there we go. Just like that, we've used the paint to make the same type background. And again, same as before, you can come along here and put the border on it with any stencil you want. You can do the border. You could even come along with the same. This is the same as the first one we did. If I wanted to use that as the border, I could put a piece of washi tape right down here so that I just get one. Let's see if I can do it without washi tape. Bets? Margie's taking bets. No, she can't. No, she can't do it without washi tape. Okay, this one I'm getting some more specific blue on it. You can use the blue or the green or a combination. I'm not blending it out so much on my baby wipe. I want to get a little bit more right on there because this one I do want it to be a specific design and be able to see it, where before I wanted it to be a background. Look at that. I might have done it. There you go. And there's a background or a border just using one piece of the design. And then you come over here and do the same thing. And I'm out of paint. Let's see how much paint I have on the baby wipe. That might be enough to do this. We'll see. Let's see. Dawn, when I went to that Mesa scrap or stamp and scrapbook expo, that crop that night, I won something at that crop, and I keep trying to remember what it was, and I can't remember. It was huge. There's a couple hundred people in the room, and they had an MC. Did everybody dress up? What was the theme this time, Dawn? They had people. I went alone, and then just met a bunch of friends that went alone. We all became friends because everybody went alone. And so we all sat together and didn't dress up, but people who came as groups totally dressed up, and I don't remember what the theme was. Pajamas. It was a pajama party. That's what it was. Did you dress up, Dawn? And did they give away some cool stuff? Okay, I need some more blue paint on there. I could use green. I could just use green. In fact, I'll use green up here because you could mix and match them both. And I can make that one just meet the other one. It doesn't have to overlap it and look like it's supposed to right there just meet. I could come down and do green on the bottom one. There you go. You can't hardly even tell that they're two different colors. And I'm using the same place on the stencil all the time. That way, if I wash it, I've really only got, or just use a baby wipe on it, I've really only got one part of the stencil that's had any paint on it. But because I'm using a baby wipe and going over it, it's really not leaving any paint on the stencil anyway. The baby wipe is pretty much wiping it clean as we go. There we go. So there's Dyan Reaveley style backgrounds with sprays and with paints. Let's see, where are our others? There's our first one with the warm color sprays, and our second one with the cool color sprays, and our third one with the cool color paints. I really would like to do one with purple paints. Wait, a good chipmunk. That's awesome. Watching on double time. Oh, this wasn't the expo. That was in September. The rubber stamp convention. Yes. Oh, chipmunk time. What? Yeah. Missed the expo this year because my cousin came to visit. It's great watching Marianne get messy and stay clean myself. Right, Julie? It's good watching somebody else get messy, enjoying the process, but not having to go wash your hands. I am going to do one more. I know we're just after 1 o'clock, and I'm going to take the time to do one more because I really want to try the purple and blue. And maybe it'll just be too much of two dark colors together, but I want to try it. So I'm going to I don't want to waste that. So I'm going to grab a little tag here. And spray that paint.
Oh, Billy Coat tooted. So
excuse you. There we go. Just spray that paint a little bit, make it a little more movable, and pick it up as a background on a tag. That little spot right by the string doesn't want to get got because it's not touching. There we go. All right, so now we have a nice tag that I didn't really care for before, and now it's got a good mixed media background. So let me wipe this up, and we're going to try the blue and purple. All right, so we're using wilted. Nope, here it is. Wilted violet. Wilted violet. Should I put blueprint sketch or broken china with it? This is tumbled black. Broken china is lighter than the blueprint sketch, but the blueprint sketch is nice and bright. I do love the brightness. This is blueprint sketch. All right, we'll go with broken china. Okay, so, Glynis said blueprint. Ricky did purple and blue, then added a tad of pink. Yep, the tag was the right size for that, and it was done quick. And anything that was left just got mopped up. I'm with you, Margie. Metallics would be great on the black. Yes, metallic paint, metallic watercolor, either would be great on the black. Okay, so we've got wilted violet and broken china. All right, and we need a new baby wipe. Excuse me, need to get frog out of my throat, or the squirrel, whichever. Linda's not on today. Okay, we'll go a little bit longer then. Excuse me. Don't know what's happening in my throat. That squirrel got stuck. All right, so I've made my little pad here and going to grab, let's start with wilted violet. Put some on here, but need to rub it around and make sure that it's not just a big blob of paint, because even that, as you saw, can get a little bit dark. Let me give it a little spritz of water. Don't need quite as much water on this one, but this helps it not to blob on, but to spread a little bit better. And just a little bit here and there. And I will continue to use this because there's still quite a bit of paint there. But let me come over to this side this time and get some of this, what is it? Broken china. Broken china. And let's get that in here. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. Both of these could be really strong, bold colors. But when you get them like this, you spritz it with water and then you rub them around so they're not full strength. They're actually really, really nice and light. Very pretty. Okay. So now let's pick us a stencil. I think I'm going to use this one. It's pretty big, but also pretty fun. And then we'll do the little circle one. All right. Okay. And remember, you don't need to get the full the full design of each one too. Leaving it just partial is good for that background. So here's, let me do the circles here. We'll also do the circles in the purple. We're going to overlap them a bit. And overlap a bit down here. Oops. Oh, my whole stencil just moved with me. So I'm just going to blend that all in and do it again. Circles there. A little bit strong. Don't want that. Okay. So let's get a... There we go. Let's hold this down so it doesn't move. And we've got some circles there too. Okay, what Dyan says is, let's see, these might even be a little bit strong. She says, you know, it's great when, and she often uses a blending brush. Sometimes she'll use this. She taught it with this, and then I noticed when she was just doing it for play that she grabbed a blending brush. And I told you that I really like the way the blending brushes work with paint. And so that's what she was using. But one thing she said was she grabbed the blending brush and said, okay, so people will grab a stencil and they, you know, pounce their blending brush on the stencil. And then they, you know, go around and around. You know, and they do this and they get this really nice, like that. Oops, that just went completely underneath the stencil. But they get a nice dark, you know, image of their stencil right here. That's what happens with a baby wipe. A nice dark image of their stencil. And she said, that's really pretty, you know, even when they're using her stencils. But she says but it doesn't look right. It's not what you want. If you're trying to do a background, you don't want that big, pretty, bold design. You want something that's background. So cleaning off the stencil like that on the page actually also gives a really nice background, because it just always clean off your stencils onto a page. And this page here will end up being another background. If that was really bold, and so if I just go over it, it's going to stay where it's bold, but it also blends out the paint. And so it's a completely different type of look. And then we can put something else over the top of it. So I do love cleaning off the stencils onto a page. That's one way to get me to clean stencils, because it gives you good imprints. And it gets on the other side. And then you're back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So depending on if you want bright or not so bright, well, depending on what brand you use. Hi, Debbie. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. It's a wonderful process. When I follow Dyan's process, I get a great page every time. When I think, oh, I'm just going to do whatever, and I don't think about it, it's not always so great. So, okay, so there's something about this that's just way too purple. So I'm going to take some of that broken china and come back here and do the same stencil. And I need to look at this, and maybe this stencil is too big. Maybe it's not small enough that there's enough spots there. But just a little bit of the same stencil over top of the other one. Let's try it up here. So I can see where the other one was. I'm just going to offset it because it's actually, because it's a different color, I can offset it and overlap it. And all it's going to do is add just a little bit of color and dimension. Same thing down here. Just a little bit. And I try to make sure that at least the ones on the outside, I'm not doing the whole design, just a little portion of it. That's what lets it fade off. Okay, that's a little bit better. And doing a border, I might actually do a really dark purple or a really dark blue, I still feel like this is a little dark and the rest of it is a little bit light, as if this is more of a focal point than a background. So either I didn't get the background dark enough paint back there, or my texture on the background is just a little too dark, or possibly both. Both are possible. So I can add just a little bit more paint in there. And then this is just a clean baby wipe to just lighten that up and blend it in a little bit as we go. Get a little bit of the blue in there and then blend it out with a clean baby wipe. You can always add paint. You can always change it with paint. But I'm liking that better just because it's looking more like a background altogether, not a background with these spots on it. These spots were just too big and bold. They weren't background-ish enough. How's yours coming, Dyan? Want to show it?
Not the one I'm working on right now. I will show my other ones, but this one, my purple, my wilted violet is like so super thick that it just looks really.
So put a little chunk, spray it with water, and then, yeah, I had to do that. I had to do that earlier with mine. Well, let's see the one that you did before.
Okay, so don't look at those. Those are awful.
Okay.
These are the ones I did before.
This is how you learn what works and what doesn't work. And this is also how I learn which paints of mine are dry.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. That's really pretty.
So this one I did like a light gray as the little polka dots. So it almost took it away from the background. This one I did, I sprayed my towel with this Precious Stone Color Bloom, and it made them stick out. The top ones stick out a little bit, but I think if I sprayed water on it, I could make it dull down a little bit.
I love that though. And it's probably more prominent in real life than
right.
So it looks really pretty.
Let's see. These are my light colors. Oops. And I did the spider web and then the medical, or the, where is it? It has like an eye and here it is. I did this on it.
Okay.
So you can sort of see them in the background.
That's
you can
cool.
if you tip it up.
I can see a spider web with an eye.
And this is the opposite side of the page. It really didn't come out as well. This is my pink one.
Like that.
Where's the other side?
Yeah,
I do have a second side to it too. I don't know where nope, it's not. But this definitely bled through, so this one could be used as a double-sided one. Because
that's cool. I even like the other side. That looks really nice.
Yeah, I don't know where the other side to it is.
So, I am.
What happened to it, guys? Did you eat it?
Here, I'll take you off screen and you'll find it instantly.
Yeah, I will. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Happens every time, right?
Yeah. But the edging on this, I was going to say the edging I did on this one was just this lined edge, and I put this stuff on it, Versa Magic chalk ink, and then I made it wet, and then I pressed it into it.
Oh, cool.
It's the reverse.
So you get a little bit of design as well as color.
Yep. Added to it.
Yeah. Yep. Cuppy stole it.
Cuppy stole it. Okay, Cuppy, bring it back.
It was pretty sneaky that way. You know, there's some discussion about color fast and light fast, and
yeah.
And Julie, I agree. Tim says that distress paint or distress ink is permanent once you heat set it, and a lot of things that are water based are permanent once you heat set them, and not just dry, but some of them when they dry, but heat set it. And all that means is that if you add something wet to it, it's not going to reactivate it. But I think it was Margie that said Permanent does not mean light fast. Yes. Permanent just means that the ink will stay in place, not that it is light fast. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and try something with a brown. I'm going to try lemon zest, squeezed orange, and ground coffee, and hope it doesn't turn everything brown, because I'm trying to get kind of sort of Halloween colors. Probably could do that in purple and orange, but I wanted to go with the kind of those warm, the orange, yellow, brown, because I want to try that spider web and the coffin. So let's try these and see what we get. And this is how you learn what one does. If the coffee makes everything just a muddled brown mess, well then I learned. And I have a brown background, right?
Which isn't bad.
No. So because I know the coffee's the one I'm concerned about making the puddle of brown, I am going to put less coffee on it than anything else. I'm going to put much more color, bright color, than the brown, and I will reserve that for spray. It's not spraying. Oh no.
Yeah, I had one of those today.
Ooh. And then it squirts all over me. Oh, there we go. That was one big, all righty. Okay, and I have a really nice puddle there. So let me grab a piece of paper quickly that I did not prepare for. Boy, that's a good puddle. Good puddles. So let's see. Hopefully that brown right there is spreading out. The orange and the yellow were super pretty. The slate gray is really pretty, Julie. I agree. I really like the Delusions ink and these are ink sprays. She also has, they bring them in, I think they brought it. Yeah, here we go, like these. So this is how she colors everything, which I haven't done yet, but is quite interesting. The Dilutions ink, these are just ink. They're beautiful. She has beautiful, bold colors that are so pretty. When you know how to use them, they're very pretty. The way she does it is awesome. You know, if I follow her system, it's great. If I don't and I just plop them down, I can end up just with a rainbow mess. So it's good to learn with the system and then go from there. But the way that she colors things, for example, she'll do pages like this. She does all her backgrounds, and then she might be working on pages, and she'll glue things on like this. And then when she's sitting on the plane, that's when she'll sit and color these. The way she does that is with water brushes. She takes water brushes and puts her ink in the water brushes. And she says she just carries, so she has however many there are, 12 or 14 or whatever. She just carries those in a little container with her, never has a problem going through the airports. And then she doesn't have to carry ink separately. She doesn't have to carry water. It's just in the ink. The ink is in the water brush, and it's super easy to color with. And that is kind of a cool idea. I have not tried it, and I think I will. Okay, so the brown didn't spread as much as I would have liked it to. That's interesting. The orange and the yellow spread really well. The brown didn't spread quite as much. But let's start with our spider web. Let's start with our spider web stencil. Okay, that's a brand new one. So no paint on it yet. Yay. We're going to give this some good spritz. and hope we get us a good spider web imprint. And we don't want it to be complete and exact because a spider web never is, right? I mean, it is, but we can't see it. We usually can't see the whole thing. You have to get just the right light, just the right angle. Oh no, web again. Are these? Oh, these are Dina Wakely, not Dyan Reaveley. Shoot. Yeah, they are. Dyan's or Dina's are smaller inks. I'm sorry. Oh, it would work with Dyan's too. Dina's inks, Dyan's inks, woo, and they're partnering up on stuff. So now I'm really going to use their names interchangeably. Dyan's inks, yeah, right, are the same colors as her sprays, and they are in shorter containers. I'm totally just grabbed the Dina Wakely ones, which I also love. We'll do some Dina Wakely style stuff. I've done some seminars or workshops with her. Okay, I'm going to take this one like we did the other one and just put it on top so we can get a positive on one, negative on the other. We might end up getting the same on both because there's enough water in the middle of it, but let's find out. They all do the same thing, right? That is right. I had a workshop with Dina Wakely one time where she was talking about learning your products and what they do. Like, oh, this is going to be cool. And she had, made a little chart for herself that had, like the Dina Wakely inks and the Dyan Reaveley sprays and the Tim Holtz, because they each use each other's. They like all the products just like we do. And trying one with the other to see how they act or interact or don't, and what they do. Do they react to water? Do they not react to water? Or how do they react to water? So when you go to do something, you can think about what kind of reaction you want and choose what product you use accordingly. And I thought, yeah, that's just so smart. So smart and organized to try all your products like that. Spray this and spray that and see what happens. That's really smart. And even keeping that chart, and then when you want to do something, you just can look at it and see, I want something that will do this. Which one should I use? All right, let's see if we can bring out that spider web a bit. And we'll do this side as well, see which one we actually get a better. I'll be curious too. I will let these sit before I take a picture for, I have a feeling I probably stuck the end of this. I did right there in the purple, and then touched the purple on there. There's a lot of paint right there. I didn't want to just mop it up and waste it. So I'll spritz that with water so it'll just turn to runny, and then I can put a couple tags on it and get some instant tag backgrounds ready to go. So having tag bases like that ready to go, just like having art journal pages like this ready to go, you can just sit down and art journal on them and not have to do the messy part. I love her concept of when she's doing backgrounds, she does backgrounds and does a whole bunch of them. She'll go through and do her whole book. And then her book's ready to go to art journal on. And the whole background has the whole book has your own backgrounds in it. I think that's cool. And you can use all different kinds of color combinations, all different kinds of stencils. So whatever you feel in the mood to use at any given time. Okay. Let's flatten it out just a bit from that heat. And we'll get it to focus again. Here we go. Okay, so we can see the spider web. It's going to come out more. I know that it's going to come out more as it dries. I would like to see it more here, and I think this is where it will come out more. I can see it distinctly. It doesn't show as much on the camera, but it will come out more. All right, so now I'm going to take the coffin one, and see if we can get some coffins in here. But I'm not going to spray this one everywhere, just here and there. I don't want it to destroy our spider web. So let's give it a little spritz over here, and let's give it a little spritz up there. And let's put this one on it so we can get some on this one as well. The brown is turning into bugs. Oh, well, that's okay, because that would be bugs stuck in the spider web, right?
Mhm.
Purple one looks like a tiny bird. Oh, I'll have to check that out. A teeny tiny little miniature bird got stuck in the spider web, or was until I sprayed it, right? See if we get any coffin at all. Yeah, maybe we won't get a whole lot. And the coffin may show up tomorrow or tonight after it completely dries.
Then it's spooky. Spooky coffin.
Yeah. It's pretty wet because, you know, the spray's in there. And so when it completely dries, then the coffin may show up. All right. So I can see coffin a little bit. I don't know. Is it showing? Not really showing up on camera. I like that too, Casey, that the browns ended up branching out like little weird Halloween fingers, creepy little fingers. Yeah. Instead of splotches, because they are kind of blotchy, but they did get these creepy little fingers that went out. And I do like that. Okay. Then what I'm anxious to try is these skull heads. I want to use that as the border. And I think maybe instead of black, I will find, it was right here, balmy night, tree bark. Is that dark enough? Maybe I need to just stick with black. Okay, let's do this. Let's do black, and let's do with the paint like Dyan does. She typically uses paint for her border. So I'm going to put a little bit of black there. You may not be able to see it because of my black mat. Let's see. I'm deciding if I want the top skull to be upright. I think I do. So I'm going to put it up here and start with the second one. And I'm going to take my chances and not mask off the next row. I think I can get to this one without getting into the second one. I hope so. Ooh, that is really close. Kind of hard to do, but I'm going to try. You can just put a piece of washi tape over that second row so you don't have to be quite so careful. Oops, just went over it. I will use a baby wipe and maybe just turn it into a black widow spider. I know Halloween's over, but it's never over for DM, right?
Nope.
Okay, too much paint on the first one. I didn't repaint it, re-ink my dauber at all, and by the last one, it was getting just right. So tells me that you don't need very much paint on that to get the stencil. In fact, less is more. So I am going to not press so hard. I'm going to not re-ink it, repaint it. And if I really, really didn't like those, I could try to wipe them off with baby wipe or maybe scrape them off a bit. I could put some white gesso over them, and I could put a little more orange paint or yellow paint, whatever it is up there, spray, and then redo them. Okay, these turned out much better. Much less paint on the dauber and not re-inking it. So I'm going to flip the book around, and I want to start at the top with one that's facing upright. It's a little bit difficult to get the one side. So this is a spot where the mini daubers or the finger daubers would probably work quite well. Even a Q-tip on this particular stencil, because it only has very small holes. If it has much larger holes, I wouldn't use a Q-tip. That would take forever. Oops. All right, let's get that lined up. Could have done a really cute card, Halloween card with this. Okay, there's our last one. All right. I'm trying to be careful not to just set my book in this paint right here. Knock all those over, I know, but before I turn it back around, I'm going to do that. I can put one more in between each one. I'm going to take these half off the edge just like those are, so they look like they came from the same strip. Otherwise, the two on the ends are half off and the other two are on. That looks kind of awkward. So this particular stencil, it's kind of hard to get down into the grooves. So I'm really having to push hard to get down into the grooves and work the blending brush down there, because they are really skinny. Like the border around the shape is just really, really skinny. And so if I have a lot of paint on it, then it just pushes it underneath the stencil. So the more you have to push and work it to get down in there, the less paint or ink you want on your stencil or on your dauber, so you don't just
Margie says she has a new idea for a challenge next year.
Oh, sweet. One that we should do in January, Margie? I love it. Her challenges are the best. Get ready for that, guys. When Margie does a challenge, it's always a great one. Everybody always has a good time, tries something new that they didn't try before, ends up getting a whole new love of stuff, and wins a great prize. Margie's always a good challenge, a good prize. Okay, probably need a little more ink. I don't really want to, because this is, well, it's not the last one. I still got to do the top. All right, I'll have to call you, Margie, and we'll talk about that. I got to turn this back around now. Let's see here. We'll think we start that one right there. So is this a start in January for the new year, or, well, we've got our challenge going till the end of the year, so Don't forget the challenge, guys. If you did this today with us, post a picture. And I'm seeing lots of pictures, which I love, but sometimes I'm not seeing a hashtag.
Yeah.
Please do not forget to put the hashtag in. You can go back and edit it and add the hashtag if you forgot. And admin is trying to watch out for them. And if they see one that doesn't have the hashtag, they can add it into a comment so that it will get pulled when I'm doing the polling. They're trying to do that, but don't count on admin, to make sure you get in.
Yep, because we're all busy too, trying to remember to put ours in.
Because they can miss things, and they're trying to get into that challenge as well. So, Yep. So anything creative that you do, anything, people have asked, is it okay to put something sewing or, whatever? Yeah, gardening, anything creative that you do, that you work on, post a picture of it, which shows that you did something creative that day. And the hashtag is HPP5MINDAY. Margie will type it into chat. Hashtag 5 minutes a day. Hashtag 5MIN. No. I just found a lid that I've been looking for all week. Hashtag HPP5MINDAY, which is hashtag 5 minutes a day. As we move into this fourth quarter, that is the busiest of all for a lot of people. Don't forget 5 minutes a day to do something creative for your sanity, for your own mental health. And 5 minutes a day might just be sorting a few things out. It might be just adding the border to something that you already did previously. It might be just choosing the color combination and pulling the sprays or inks for your next project. It might be just gluing 1 or 2 things in your glue book because that's all you have time for. Doesn't matter what it is. Take a picture of that. Here's a new page I started in my glue book. I got 2 items in. This would look great with lace patterns without the skulls. Yeah, any of those would be really pretty with lace. Yeah. And so I'm hoping as this dries even more and sits out, that the spiderweb stencil will come out even more, and the coffin stencil, but mostly the spiderweb, because that's, I think, the most obvious. The coffins aren't quite as obvious to people that they are coffins.
But yeah, it's hard to tell.
The spider web is pretty cool, and it's starting to come out. It's coming out. The more it sits here, the longer it sits here, the more it's coming out. So a tree stencil would be cool. Yes, last night I sat and sketched a tree, and I thought, oh, I need to put this in because that's a 5 minute a day, creative venture. So just remember that you can use sprays, you can use paints, any color combination that you like. You can put a border on it. You can wait, not put a border on it until you do something with it and decide what you want to do with it. You can put words on it and glue things on it. I just scribbled a little grouping of flowers down here, a little piece of a garden, and put her on here. Drama shield. See, this is her drama shield. Drama shield, activate. And then I will come back at another time and color this, paint this. I don't have to do that right now. You can paint them before you glue them on. But I love Dyan's idea of doing all the backgrounds in her book so it's ready to go. And then when she feels like doing something, she can go and even glue some things on and choose her words and all of that. And then when she's sitting on the plane, she can color them. She can draw in things by the side. She could, I'll probably take a white gel pen and do some doodling in these, maybe even do some doodling in some empty space here. So there's a lot of things, that you can do with that. So
I finished the purple and blue, so it
awesome.
didn't quite as nasty.
If the project took more than 5 minutes, is it valid? Yes, Ori, absolutely. If you take more than 5 minutes, that is most awesome. We just want people to remember to take at least 5 minutes a day. Yes, definitely put it in. Just post a picture, put the hashtag.
Look, it's purple.
And it doesn't matter if you missed 1 week. It doesn't matter, because every week you have the chance to post at least 3 times in the week to get in the drawing. And if you post 3 times in the week, you get 3 chances in the drawing. And so you have from now till the end of the year to get a whole bunch of opportunities in the drawing. That looks really cool. It turned out really nicely.
Yeah, you can see, well, you can't see on there, but you can see where some of that, where it was really gunked up from the purple, that I had to try to.
But it lifted really nicely and spread. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this one because I use like a couple different kinds of stencils, and they're really starting to pop now that they're dry, because
now it'll dry and more, it'll pop even more. Yeah.
I didn't see these, the darker purple things. I didn't see those when I first did them. I like it.
It's really showing up. Yep, on the right one. Yeah, and I'm seeing the stencils on both of them. I'm recognizing the stencils now.
Yeah.
So you start to pop. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that would be a good stencil for that one. Yeah. They do look great. Love Dyan's flower stencils and stamps. Yeah, she has stamps. You could stamp on top of this when it's dry. You could take your acrylic paint pens or gel pens and write on it. You can use her words. She's got these. That's where, whoops, can't see. DM's not showing.
Yeah.
Me. That's where this comes from, is some of these die cuts. And then she's got words in both black and white, different types of words. She's got the diary creative things. So these are like washi, which I love. They're transparent. They're washi. And then some of them are white. And so if I put the white on, the clear, I say white because you see white, but it's actually clear. It's going to show right through to whatever color I did on my page. So in your actual regular journal, you can have words. Oh, I love her. I love the way she writes like this. I need to practice that. Often she will write her own sentiment here and then do it like this. I've watched her do that a couple of times, and I really want to learn how to do that. Look at that. There's borders right there for you. If you wanted to, you could peel and stick some borders on your own. So all kinds of, here's another fun stamp of hers that will make a really great border.
Yep.
The big long one, I thought it was going to be a short one, but that'll make a nice border, and you could color that in.
Even the big one would, and leave a little less space on it. But
yeah,
you don't
half off if you're on a small page, but on a page like this, you could do the whole thing. Yeah. The washi tape. Yep, her washi tape is pretty awesome.
I was actually thinking about that on one of them, Julie, because I have a really nice washi tape of hers that I very rarely use.
So she's got this, and I actually have a couple of each of these things I'm showing you in stock. Not a whole lot, but a couple of each. So this, which they're all black, but they have cool little things on them. And then there is the pack. I think we're talking about one from one of the packs like this that have cool fun design. Like I love this. I love this. There's all the happy paper ladies and gents on there. How fun is that? And all of these are really fun ones. They look dark when they're on the roll, but when you open it, look at this one full of eyes. I love the eyes.
Yeah, that one is actually one that I've used up.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can take this and you can put something on here, and you can put eyes on it. I love that one. Yeah, I didn't even know the eyes was in that one when I ordered it, but I'm glad that it is. Mark making stamps. These are fun ones because you can just do a little bit of mark making here and there. And, you know, we can doodle these. We can doodle all these. But I was drawing some of these last night. And by the time I drew them and colored them in, holy crap, that just took me an hour to do this little area, you know, of the squares and then color them in. And I'm like, you know, I love doing that. But sometimes when I want to move on and get other things done, I could just ink that up and stamp it. They've done a whole lot faster. Whole lot faster.
Happy anniversary, Ricky.
Oh, Ricky, happy anniversary to you and John. Set the eye over Tim Holtz people's eyes. Yeah, Casey, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Have a good time. I know you will. You always do. Happy 40th. All right, we're going to go ahead and call it right here. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, Casey. I'm glad you were off today. Got to hang out with us. I will be watching the group because I want to see what you guys did. Glennis and Ricky and Casey, I know you guys did them at least. Not sure who else had a chance to play along with. Maybe Ori did. But yeah, I can't wait to see the pages that you did of backgrounds, whether you did borders or not. I won't put borders on all of mine. I'll wait until I decide what I'm going to do on the page.
Yeah. And that's why I only put it on that one because
this one because of the because it's a spider web and I really wanted that to be there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Picked out my ruby for 40 gems. Nice. Bye. Have fun, Ricky. Thanks, DM, for being here with me. Hope your shoulder gets feeling better, rested a little bit.
It is feeling better.